Packs for sprains and pains. In nearly 20 years of association with the concepts of healing and regeneration found in the Cayce readings, my experience tells me that all people should have the opportunity to bring about healing for themselves or for others. This can be done by prayer, of course, which is usually not dramatic, even though it is effective. Utilizing the same concept that all healing comes from within the body, the opportunity might come through application of a castor oil pack or vinegar and salt, or some such remedy that often is not only dramatic in its effectiveness but also satisfies that desire for healing. Such a thing happened to a Kansas City woman whose 5-year-old boy stepped on a nail and developed typical red streaks of cellulitis. Her story needs no amplification. First, believe me, when it comes to my children's health, I am not in the least likely to take chances, so do not think I acted impulsively or took any unusual chances. It started on a Sunday morning, when my 5-year-old complained that his foot hurt and he had some red streaks on his ankle. I took his temperature, and it was normal, but his foot, where he had stepped on a nail the previous day, was now quite red. There were also 2 or 3 streaks raised like http://worldwideweb.edgarcayce.org/health/database/static/data/caserup1.html 10 hours 23 minutes and 44 seconds p.m. Edgar Cayce Health Database, anecdotal case reports, remedies, products. Welts, almost to his knee. I had never seen blood poisoning streaks before, but I was sure that it was indeed blood poisoning, though my husband didn't think so. I decided to try the Cayce castor oil packs and he then would give it no longer than 4 hours. If he was running a temperature or was worse in any way by that time, I would call the doctor. I had used the packs for bruises and swelling but never for anything this serious before. I put the pack on and wrapped an elastic bandage around it. Then fastened the beating pad around that and made him sit and keep his foot elevated. At the end of 4 hours, the red streaks were definitely fading and the swelling had disappeared. The pain was nearly gone also, and there was no temperature elevation. I left the pack on with heat the rest of the day, then that night took off the heating pad, leaving the pack in place. By the next morning, the foot looked completely normal, and when my boy stepped on it, there was no pain. I watched him carefully for several days, but the symptoms never came back, and everything was great. No shots or pills and no doctor bill or hospital bill, and it cleared up so fast. I have since used it for the same type of infection, with the same results. This enterprising woman used the same castor oil packs for sprains and bruises, bumps and that sort of thing, for infected fingernails and even poison ivy. She told us also how she used the salt and vinegar pack on her 16-year-old boy who severely sprained his ankle. I melted the salt with the hot vinegar and made a poultice and plastered the foot thickly with it and then wrapped it with old sheet strips. I left the poultice on until it was completely dried and started to flake off. His foot was much better that night and by the next day he was walking nearly normally and by the end of the week he was active, doing everything, except jumping and running. Then she adds her own philosophical observation, which I think is a fascinating bit of homespun truth. It's a funny thing, though. In working with my kids, the ones that believe it will help are helped. The one daughter who does not believe in home remedies and faith healing, the salt and vinegar did not help her sprain, even though all other factors were the same. Left square bracket note, the preceding case report was written by William McGarry, M.D. and is excerpted from the A.R.E. Journal. July, 1975, Volume 10, No. 4, page 174, copyright 1975 by the Edgar Cayce Foundation, Virginia Beach, Virginia, right square bracket.